All right, so I want to say thank you guys for joining today. We're going to talk about lead generation and prospecting techniques. So, when you think about the industry, when you think about the opportunity to support people or support agents who are looking to support their industry, this is where, oftentimes agencies will try and lure people in when it comes to lead generation. They're always talking about leads and stuff like that. My objective is different really from that standpoint. I've never been the person who says, "Oh, you have to buy leads," right? There's so much ability and so much opportunity in your local area that the idea of just purchasing leads and hoping your phone rings is kind of silly in my opinion because a lot of times in our industry, life insurance isn't bought, it's sold. And most people don't wake up in the morning looking for insurance unless they have an issue already. And at that point, it's going to cost them a lot more. There's also fears of chargebacks and things like that. So, the objective today really is to equip you with powerful strategies to expand your reach, engage prospects with confidence, and convert more leads into long-term clients. Like I always say, do good for your community will do good for you. So, these proven lead generation strategies will help you build a pipeline of opportunity, maybe explore some advanced methods for identifying, qualifying, and engaging high value prospects, and also to discuss strategic prospecting techniques that drive long term business growth. So let's let's dive in. So, why lead generation and prospecting matter? So, identify and connect with the right prospects to maximize efficiency and profitability. Really, it's the lifeblood to everything that you do in sales. Let's be completely honest. If you're not prospecting and effectively prospecting, then you are not going to continue in this industry, unfortunately. Like I said before, some people are waiting for their phone to ring. It's not going to ring. You have to be proactive in how you want to reach out to people. Is your business going to sustain without prospecting or lead generation? Absolutely not. So even if you're working on a case, there are some people who are working on one case at a time and coveting that one case. But the problem in doing that is what happens if the case doesn't go through? What happens, if they get a bad offer? Now you're sitting there saying, "Oh, well, that's that one case. Now I don't have anything else to focus on." Well, that's why you have to talk to as many people as possible and talk to and get as many opportunities as possible to keep that sustainability and that growth rate. It also keeps a competitive advantage. So, like when I talk about prospecting in general, I prospect for agents. Why do I do these trainings every single week? It's not for my health, it's for me to provide a value proposition for people to want to partner with me and ultimately grow the business. So, same thing for you. What type of value proposition or competitive advantage do you have against other professionals in your industry? What type of skill set are you providing that they're not? And what type of people are you looking for? And you have to come with a targeted approach. Finding the right clients improves efficiency and increases conversions. Are you looking for the exact same clients that other people are looking for? And are you saying the exact same thing? Would it make sense for you to learn something new, maybe find a different niche of clientele and improve your efficiency and opportunity because there's less fish in the pond, so to speak, or competitors in the pond? Um, and how do you effectively build your relationships? At the end of the day, when you engage with these prospects early, you have to foster their trust and long-term client, and that develops the long-term client relationships. If you cannot foster that relationship, whether you have a problem, continuing conversation, bringing up something valuable to say, things like that, you don't have that long-term client relationship. So how do you engage with prospects early and then continue to foster that? A friend of mine always said, half the game is showing up, but you also have to continue to show up. Now, it's not a one and done kind of industry. So here's some effective lead generation strategies. And if you say that you know all these and you're still not being successful, just kidding. You got to think outside of the box with a lot of networking stuff. So referrals and strategic networking. Leverage satisfied clients and connections for trust-based referrals. So, show of hands, for those of you who sold policies, how many of you do active policy reviews every single year? That's a tough one because you're always trying to find new opportunities. So, if you're consistently looking forward without looking back, you're missing a great big window of opportunity. So, if, for example's sake, I was meeting with someone after I sold them a policy, and just say, it's been a year, say, hey, Phil, it's nice to see you again. I just want to touch base with you and show you how your policy is working. It looks like everything is kosher. And what I'd like to do is, either change your allocations around or your allocations are fine, but I see your beneficiaries on this. Want to confirm that it's still accurate. Any changes in your lifestyle, any promotions, any demotions, like you lost your job, things like that. So when you go that route, you're fact finding. And then it never hurts to say after you either finish your sale or even at that time of a policy review, hey, Phil, I appreciate the partnership. Very thankful that you allowed me to provide you with coverage. Do you have any friends or family you feel would be worth me talking to as well to provide the same type of service I gave you? And as long as people are happy enough, they're going to give you that business. But the thing is you have to ask for it because normally, if someone has a good experience, it's very hard for them to, I don't want to say very hard, but more oftentimes than not, they're not going to go out and shout at the rooftops of how happy they are with the production that you did. But if you did wrong by them, they're usually tell about 3 to 5 times more people versus a good experience. So you have to kind of ask if you're talking about a referral, you have to ask for the referral, otherwise, most people aren't even going to think about it. Um, Good frame of reference. One person I know is very successful in the insurance industry. He actually does, online will and trusts. And during that process of selling the will and trust, they talk about guardianship or they talk about beneficiaries and things like that. And he'll tell them to call that person who is a benefactor of whatever it may be, either money, whatever, maybe guardianship for the kids, so they understand what they're getting into. And then ultimately, he'll say, to that person, I could do the same for you. And it helps generate opportunity by just getting more names and more opportunity just by simply introducing yourself to someone and then asking for the business. If you don't ask, you're not going to get. Social media and digital marketing, this one can be a very interesting way to provide lead generation for you. Okay, so some people shy away from this social media and digital marketing, but what I do for my sake is given that I've been in the industry, I'm on my 19th year now. Um, it just opining on other people's information, in these Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups or whatever with other insurance professionals, and eventually people want to start working with you. So same thing when you talk about, digital marketing and social media for clients, the idea would really be around providing a story. Again, products don't sell, stories sell. So you talk about Oh, I just had a client the other day who bought this policy and now feels way more confident in their retirement. Ask me how I can help you. So stuff like that, you don't want to give the farm away in regards to the conversation, but you want to have something that is viable for someone to grab their attention, understand that they may have a same similar problem, and then through that story will relate to it. So ultimately, sharing success, sharing education, and things like that help build that reputability and brand online through social media. Now, cold calling and email outreach, that I would say is a little different. Now, for us here at Valor, we do have, ways that you can do email outreach. We have it through our marketing team. We call it geo-targeted marketing. And so if you're looking for specific types of clientele, say doctors, attorneys, or whatever, we can put together some type of email outreach by scraping data that we get online, I should say, and providing it for you to kind of warm it up and then eventually turn it into warm marketing outreach. So cold calling is tough because no one likes to pick up a phone and wait to get hung up on the other end. The minute you say you sell insurance and then all of a sudden you have a hung up phone call. So a lot of people don't like that, but really, what I say to everyone is you don't know what you're missing out on. So, if for example's sake, I called someone and got a no, that's the same thing as not calling them. But if I call someone and get a yes, then I've moved the goalpost. I've actually moved past, the starting point and I'm moving on. So cold calling can be a great way for you if you really feel like you're trying to learn the business and you don't want to uh, hurt, say your family members or personal friends. You're trying on someone who you'll probably never meet. Cold calling businesses is a good one to maybe talk about ways that you could provide retirement strategies, especially for the business owners and maybe some tax breaks. So there's different things that you can do from that standpoint to ultimately, work the cold calling angle. Some people would actually do, the next one being community involvement and partnership. This one is a very big deal. You could do a couple things. So instead of cold calling, you could go to a neighborhood that has, say, a mini mall, has a bunch of small businesses in there, and you go in and you drop off a card. You let them know what you do and compliment them on their business. And next thing you know, you could have a potential opportunity to get some clients there in the business owner. Doesn't hurt to stop by once a month, maybe even if it's like a attorney's office, drop off like some donuts or coffee or something like that, and just say, "Hey, would love to talk to you guys." Maybe once a month, sit down and talk about what's doing in the insurance industry, and then you create that rapport with them, and you find actually referral partners from referral partners. Other things that you could do, join some groups. So BNI is a good group that you can join. There's usually insurance people in there, but they're usually captive. So like a New York Life guy, Northwestern Mutual, someone like that. But if you have the opportunity to join something like BNI to introduce yourself to other business owners, things like that. Also, just thinking from that same lines, if there are local events happening and you want to do a sponsorship, say like a golf outing that people are doing, and you want to sponsor a hole, or you want to, do some type of sponsorship there, things like that all come back to you because it's community involvement. So once again, if you have a positive light on your community or inside your community, it'll only benefit you. As I'm going through these two, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or you can ask them. Just raise your hand first. So look at the art of prospecting. There's a couple ways you could do this. So, you know, we'll talk first about this, identifying really an ideal client. So what is your target audience? Using you can define it using demographics and needs. We're finding with data-driven insights. So that's a very funky way of saying, who are you looking to target? Now, is it business owners? Is it friends and family? Is it a specific niche? So, for example's sake, like I had a sport management major, so I worked with a lot of people who were in sport. Could that be an avenue for me to then talk to those same people and try and get into the sport industry? Now, the sport industry is very tough. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm just using it as an example. Maybe you have a background in being a CPA or accountant or real estate, things like that. So those are funnel sources that you can identify that you already have some type of market expertise with to once again look to partner and potentially sell to those clientele. Next is engaging with the prospects. So you want to talk a consultative approach. The reason why with Valor I have three silos is to provide that consultative approach. I'm not just here to sell you insurance. I'm here to talk about protection while you're working, find the most opportune ways for you to retire the way you want to, rather than the way the government is telling you to. And then ultimately, when you make too much money, we'll find ways to legally hide it from Uncle Sam using tax diversification strategies or legacy planning. So when you talk from that standpoint, it's very vague. It's consultative. And then you see here asking questions to uncover their needs. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Is the always fun question that you have when you're interviewing for a job. But the same thing here is what's your future goals? What does retirement look like for you? And what would it take for you to get to that retirement? And so when you start asking them questions, it peels back the onion on what's really necessary to go to the next level. And so identifying, let's see, define your target audience using, oh, I don't know why I put that on twice. My apologies. So let's talk about overcoming prospecting and prospecting challenges. So someone simply says, I'm not interested. Once again, you have to understand that people are going to say no right off the bat. Um, and the thing is that they're not saying no to you, so you really can't take it personally. Okay. The big thing is that when you talk about it, someone says, I'm not interested, say, I understand, could you share what concerns you most about this service? Now you flip the script. Now all of a sudden, it's not about, them just saying they're not interested because it's very close-ended. You're coming back with a question because you want more feedback. Most of the time, if you have more opportunity to talk to them, the greater the chance of success of closing. So even though someone says they're not interested, really going back and just saying, truly, what are the concerns about that as to why you would say no? You could even say, I appreciate you, sharing that you're not interested, just so I could understand better for future reference. Was it something that I said that, didn't quite make sense that, I could tell future people or whatever, something very simple, where you're not just being, overly pushy per se. Um, so someone says they don't have time to talk, perfectly fine. When is a good time to talk? And just get them booked on the calendar because they're just trying to get you off. They're trying to not talk to you. So you say, well, I have a calendar up in front of me. When is a good time that's convenient for you? And, I mean, you run the risk that someone's not going to pick up the phone. They're going to, just not answer. But that's okay because until they say, never talk to me again, I would say you still have a chance to touch base with them. There's never a no really until, you know, well, until they really say no, firmly, I guess you could say. I already work with someone, that's great. What do you value most about their service? So a lot of times people will say, they like them because they are best friends. They like them because they did X, Y, or Z. So the rebuttal typically for that is, well, okay, uh, do they also do this? No. Is that something that you would like them to do? Where are the gaps? So you keep asking questions to ultimately come up with the resolution of, hey, you should give me a shot, or it's not worth your time, so you move on. But for the most part, someone is always quote unquote working with someone until you offer them a better value proposition. So, tools and technologies for prospecting, CRM systems. So, we have a lot of this that can help you through our team. We have a company that we partner with for a CRM system. You can upload all your clients in there, and you can even upload new clients. You can send out automated email sequences. So that's the big thing is a lot of people don't realize that if you just send out an email once a month or so, and if you have an appropriate CRM system, you should also be able to see who is actually looking at those emails. So that's always the fun one is you send them out, great, you did your job. But if you go back and you have the right analytics, you can see who's actually opened it, who's bypassing it, things like that. So that helps you generate a different way to talk to people through automated equal email sequences. You can figure out who's reading them, who's not, and maybe try a different avenue or way to talk to some people. Social media, you can get really in depth with that, but I would highly recommend getting a social media manager if you're going to try and go that route. Having someone just do social media by saying, "Hey, I'm here and I sell insurance," like there was someone in one of the insurance Facebook groups who's like, "Join my team now for insurance." I mean, I don't mind the honesty, but I simply wrote no. Like, there's no value proposition there. So to just be on social media does not mean that you're going to get clientele. But if you have targeted messaging and analytics behind the scenes to say, hey, this has reached more viewers, this has reached more people, what else can I do to get someone to that yes? And there's some people out there right now who spend two to north of $5,000 a month in social media ads for like annuity sales, but one sale, you know, can easily overcome that spend. So imagine what two can do. And so that's some of the major stuff that I would say. But most importantly, as I mentioned before, half the game is showing up, the other half is following up. So we're always moving. I kind of equate this industry like a shark. If a shark stops moving, it actually dies. So the shark has to constantly keep moving. So we have to constantly move forward, but you always have to make sure you have to check your six. Check your six means you got to look behind you. So 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Um, so when you check your six, it means that you're looking back at what you've already done, analyzing it and seeing what you have to do to get that person back in front of you. Because the longer it takes, the less likely you're going to get that opportunity. So follow up within 24 to 48 hours, either using a phone call, email, or social media, some form of way to provide a touch to that person to make sure that they see you, hear you, and you're at the forefront of their mind. I joke because one of my business partners has the mind of a goldfish. If you don't get in front of them, or her, then then it's forgotten. So you constantly have to remind some people, hey, friendly reminder, just a quick heads up. And normally even with our calls on these days, I do friendly reminders to people, and there's usually more people, but that's because I have to remind people. So this was actually a social experiment today as well. So it's all about showing up, reminding people that you're there. Value the communication. You want to share relevant insights, success stories, and personalized messages. No one wants a robot. No one wants someone who's just going to come in and say, guess what? This policy from this carrier has a 20% bonus. You should buy this one. Do you want to sign up now? What is the person's objectives? Like I said before, if I'm talking about an annuity, tell me, Mr. and Mrs. Client, what does your retirement look like? Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? What type of actions would it take for you to get there? Did you know we have carriers that offer different type of strategies that can give you guaranteed income? If you want to have $5,000 a month, then we need this much today to put that to give you guaranteed income. And you can actually work backwards on annuities too. So timing and persistence. When you talk about multiple touch points, there are some people that I know who will do you talk to someone, wait 2 days. You don't hear back from them, you call them in 4 days. You don't hear back from them, call them in 8 days. And then once a month, but you don't ever give up. So the big thing is that you have that situation where you're going to continue to stay in front of them. And I remember sending out newsletters to customers just offering insight, and one person emailed me back and said, "Hey, I need to talk to you about doing a life insurance retirement plan," and stuff like that. So they are out there. You just have to again stay in front of them. And then you talk about measuring prospecting success. So if you're not figuring out what you're doing wrong, you're going to continue to do the same thing wrong over and over again. So your lead conversion, how many leads become actual clients? What is the response rate? Are you continuing to get that engagement after you've talked to someone? And if the answer is no, then you have to try a different route. Not everyone is the same, but if you've tried multiple people and you're getting the same response, which is nothing, then maybe it's the approach. Maybe it's the questions. Maybe it's you're not giving them the full desire that they're looking for. But ultimately, your lead conversions to clients is important, but also that pipeline health. So back in the day when I worked with my business partner, external wholesaler at MetLife, we had like an ABC spreadsheet. Pending, pipeline, paid. From the pipeline, what do we want to get paid that month? From the pending, what do we want to go into the pipeline? And then we fill in the pipeline with new opportunity. So you could do the same thing as you're talking, say, list 10 clients that you'd like to get, and then get them into a pipeline, whether it's a trial application with a carrier, or you've had a meeting with them. And it's all about figuring out what type of response rate you're getting from that pipeline. And ultimately, if you're doing it all right, you'll have that client retention, but it's all about effective prospecting. So that's the big thing. Most important thing, though, and I can't stress this enough, is consistency. So if you get into this industry thinking you're going to make millions of dollars and you are waiting around for someone to show you how it's done, you're not going to make any money. The fact is that you have to be consistent. You have to prospect, you have to talk to people, you have to let them know what you do. The phone's not going to ring coming to you with opportunities for $1 million cases. You have to go out there and find them. Where someone a great example, when I was an RVP, I had one of my best clients was about to walk out the door because AIG fired the guy before me, who brought this guy in. And, I called him up as he's about to go meet a client, and he had every illustration in his bag but AIG's. And after the conversation, he sold AIG. And the great thing about it is we're now business partners. So you just never know from a timing perspective. The timing could have been wrong the first time you called him. It's now right this time. So you have to stay consistent and proactive in your lead generation. Flip up your strategies if you need to, because once again, things get stale, people move on, but you have to figure out different ways to grab their attention. And then constantly refine your approach. So if one thing didn't work, you felt you were right all the way up until the end, and then your close is this, and everyone said no, then you have to figure out the right way to do it. But most importantly, the key takeaways here is, get a solid lead generation strategy. Effectively prospecting requires patience, consistency, and I would underline, bold, highlight consistency, and follow-ups. There are different ways you can do it, multi-channel efforts, and then building relationships to boost those conversion rates. So once again, your clients are your best sounding board. They should be the ones there that are delivering that message to your next set of prospects. So that's the main stuff that I would say today. Does anyone have any questions? I see one question in the chat. So how can we create more value proposition through our conversation? Um, what I would say is that's really the art of asking good questions. So, if you ask good questions up front, there's less possible rejection opportunity on the back end. So if I was talking to someone about, protection needs, tell me a little bit about your scenario. Tell me about your family. How long have you lived in X house? How long have you had this job? Are you very secure with your job? Any fear or concern about it changing in the near future? What is like the rest of the family? How many kids do you have? What's your greatest fear? What keeps you up at night? It's always a fun question to hear the response to. So, as soon as you can figure out things that will weed out the wrong scenarios or solutions, now you have a better closing opportunity to find the right solutions. And so that's what a lot of people seem to miss is the old joke is, God gave you two ears and one mouth because he wants you to listen twice as much as you talk. Well, you have to ask the question and then just shut up and let them carry on. Because the most important thing is you want to gather that data and information from what people are telling you so you can provide them with the right solution. Say, so and so, based on what you said, I like this option. It doesn't have X, which you were concerned about. It does have Y, which you wanted. And ultimately, it'll do this. I think that we should put in an application. It's a non-committal application. The worst case is you get a free medical exam. But at least for us to make an educated decision, at the end of the day, we need to get you through underwriting to make sure that you can even qualify for the solution that we're talking about. How about that? Sure. Okay.
Yeah, also I would like to add few points on this, Phil. So every question that you wanted us to ask is great, but people who are living in areas like Dallas, there is heavy competition. So we should also ask, hey, are you already working with an existing agent? Do you have any other quotes in hand?
Yep.
So this would at least save our time because many situations I've seen people they already have quotes, they are just trying to work with us to see if this guy can give us anything cheaper. That's all.
Okay.
They don't understand the value. We have to probably analyze what they already have and how we can show our value. And one example, my buddy Raghav recently got in a case by winning asking the same questions. So this is something that important. We have to understand there's a lot of competition also we have.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And Jay, you bring up a great point. Especially in that Dallas market, it is very hot and heavy with competition, especially also being, in the Indian market too. You have a lot of quote unquote professionals. And the sad part is that eventually it'll put a mar on the industry for a certain group of people. And that's why I think we, more than anything, have to ask those questions. But also, what is their relationship with their other person? Did they just get quotes from them, or did they actually, are they friends? Is there some type of relationship involved? Because, your intel is everything. So, I always say your network is your net worth. And if your network is just trying to get information from you, and then go somewhere else, then you need to make sure your value proposition is protected. I had one guy ask me to do a point of sale on a high-end case, and I told him, I was like, sorry, someone else did that to me, and then they went and sold it somewhere else or tried to sell it somewhere else. So from here on out, if anyone wants me to do point of sale, it's going to cost you $2,000 up front, for my time's sake. And then if the case goes through, then whatever the comp is, if it's more, then I'll debit it off. And then that person never called back. So you almost have to figure out your time wasters as well. People, are they trying to get something from you, or are they really trying to use you as an actual partner? And I think in our industry, there's a lot of people who you have to kind of weed through that to find out who the actual partners are. So great point. So valorfinancialspecialist.com, not .co. I missed that one. That is my marketing cell number. If you don't have my actual cell number, just call that and ask for it or text it, whatever. Or email me, Phil at valorfinancialspecialist.com, valorfs.com. But what I will say to people is, I said in the beginning, I'll say it again. Great Collaboration is up. Registration is up for May 3rd and 4th. It is only $25. And guess what? I actually give you lunch on the 3rd, give you breakfast on the 4th. So I am not inhuman. It is a day and a half of information on how to leverage partnerships and opportunities in the insurance industry. We'll talk about different things like infinite banking, how to partner with a reverse mortgage specialist, how to work with an RIA, women in finance. We'll talk about, I just talked to one of our guest speakers who's going to close out the second day, and how to leverage and get your first $1 million premium ticket. So we're going to have a lot of cool information and a lot of cool booths and strategies to go over. The reason, again, why it's called the Great Collaboration is it's not about me recruiting people. It's about knowledge share and an opportunity for people to grow in a safe place. Now, if Valor offers something that current IMOs don't have and they want to work with us, fantastic. But if not, there's sales ideas and different concepts that are going to be available for people to walk away with. So we have a steep discount on the rooms. The rooms are only 170 a night at this Westin in Irving. Normally they're about 230, 240 bucks. So got a break on the room. The cost of the a venue or event is only $25. If you just scroll down and put your information in, you can get it all squared away today. So I'd highly recommend it because seating is limited. We're going to have about 400 seats, so to speak, for this event. So the pricing goes up to $100 on April 1st as well. So the sooner the better, tgcconference.com. I'll even put it in the chat session. So all you have to do is click on that. But really looking forward to seeing you guys there. If you live in Dallas, you need to still at least buy the ticket, even if you're not going to sleep in the Westin. But needless to say, this is going to be a fantastic event. Um, any other questions? See, there are people mindset, which could be because of. So I'll answer that in a second. Nana, you had a question?
No, no, no. I'm just listening in.
Okay. I saw you come off mute, so I didn't know if there's some. Um, so there are people with certain mindset, which could be because of past experiences with someone else who approached them to sell a product. How do you deal with them? So what I would say is what was the past experience? Tell me what they did that made you uncomfortable to move forward with the purchase. Is it a personal decision? Is it because you didn't like them? What? and just kind of shut up. Just say, "Oh, so and so already approached you. Well, how'd the conversation go? Well, what'd they offer? What were they trying to tell you? And what didn't make sense?" You know, most people will try and sell like target funded IULs, and you have to say, "Oh my gosh, that's nasty. Why would you do that? This is what you should be doing, X, Y, and Z." Um, I would love to kind of give you that better experience if you would like to sit down. It's non-committal, but just want to see if there's an opportunity where I can serve and help you. Simple and easy. If they say no, say, "Okay, would you mind if I followed up with you, in a couple months just to see if things have changed?" Um, you know, a great one that I would also recommend is if you're doing like, say you want to do a lunch and learn, uh, making friends with the restaurant owner, just saying, "Hey, I'm in financial services. I'm looking for a place where I can do maybe a lunch and learn, and wanted to see if you had speak to the owner or whoever, and wanted to see if I could do something here. What we do in financial services, X, Y, and Z. We help business owners such as yourself find ways to get to the retirement they deserve. Have you done any retirement planning yet? Maybe you should come join the event and see what we have to offer." And now you're creating referral partners, you're creating relationships and opportunities, and maybe you get a discount on food too. Who knows? But that also involves marketing in your community, whether you do it through social media, whether you do it through, um, you know, blast emails, community boards, things like that. So there's different ways to market that too. But the big thing is you got to plan it out. If you don't plan it out, it's going to be a mishmash, and then you'll think you're unsuccessful, and then you'll get pissed off, and then you won't do it. So once again, going back to what I said in the beginning, consistency is key. You got to make sure you do something, and if it doesn't work, you got to modify it, but don't stop being consistent. Any last questions, comments? The great collaboration is for agents, correct. It is not for prospects. So we're going to talk about sales ideas and ways you can make way more money at this event. Um, and also for those who don't know, because I see different people here, Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock Central Time, we do back to basics. So any situations that you want to talk about, case design, illustrations, how to run things, we do all of that on Wednesday nights. And everything is up on the YouTube channel after. So at Valor Financial, all this stuff is here, So if you ever need something to put you to sleep, you got 200 plus videos right here for you to take a gander at. But aside from that, call it quits for the day. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for jumping on. Look forward to a future partnership, and I will love to see you all at the great collaboration. And we'll talk soon. Have a great day, guys.
Sorry, Philip, just a quick one.
Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me.
Quick one.
Oh, what's up?
How do we get access to all those videos once again? I missed that.
Just go to at Valor Financial on YouTube.
At Valor Financial on YouTube. Okay, got you. Appreciate you. Thanks, Philip.
All right. See you guys.